Welcome to another thrilling race day with the Drone Champions League, the World Championship for professional drone racing teams, and I'm Matt Andrews. We're on to race day 12 of our second split for 2023 with the 10 best teams in the world. Two matchups for you today, as always. The first will feature SDT Perpetuumcoin from Spain. They're racing with Sea Sky, Silvio, Danube, and Shrimpy Boy. They're currently in the all-important top 6 places. It's Mach1 who are going to be trying to take some points away from them today. The Baber, Trilly FPV, Cali, and Hologram. Trilly and Cali are both new pilots, and they're making a real impact. Then we'll see the reigning champions Raiden Racing with Silent on their starting roster, Vincent Mines, IQ0, and their other new pilot, Bartu FPV from Turkey. And they're taking on their old rivals, the China Dragons, with an unchanged lineup again. Chryson, Creator Gamer, Clone Number 1, and Ion FPV from India. There's very little to separate Raiden and China Dragons at the moment, except for Raiden having 2 World Championship titles. SDT are a little further ahead of Mach1. And these matches will come to you in 3 races each, starting off with 2 pilots versus 2. The other 2 pilots from each team race each other, and then everybody races in the DCL Big Heat. And you get 4 points for winning any of those, 3 if you come in second, 2 for third, 1 for fourth. Then we'll add up the scores of those 3 races, and the team with the highest amount will get 3 points on that all-important leaderboard. 1 if it's a draw. Nobody wants nothing. Our track today is in Vaduz. That's the capital of Liechtenstein, the home of the DCL. After a few turns through Torval, we go to the rooftops of the government building of Liechtenstein, and that triangular one we're about to go over is the Parliament of Liechtenstein. We'll swing over the rooftops for a dive down now towards the shopping area, where we usually have a little drone festival when we fly here in real life. This is a tight turn into that tunnel. Expect a few difficult lines into there. 2 block trade gates and then a hurdle to duck under here before you go around again. It's quick and there's 6 laps, and let's go racing with SDT Perpetuumcoin against Mach1, Shrimpy Boy and Silvio to kick things off against Hologram and Trilly. Mach1 in the light blue, SDT Perpetuumcoin from Spain in the green, and currently in first and second. In the hands of Silvio and Shrimpy Boy, we're on board with Hologram, who's going over the Parliament, ducking under the crane. Now the ring, then turn around this cone and dive down. She follows them in third place towards this little sort of shopping area. 1 second between her and the leader. Turn wide for that tunnel. A little bit of correction needed. That's okay at this stage. But getting all kinds of swingy on the start of lap number 2, which has lost her another second there. It is difficult as you've got a blind dive to make it under a hurdle. She'll try and tidy that up on the other laps that we have here. 6 laps is unusual for a DCL circuit. Shrimpy Boy ducks under, and then ducks under this bridge in second place. He's 1.4 seconds behind his teammate. Bit close to the wall there. Going for the dive down and making that work. Not quite as swingy as Trilly earlier on, who's lost a load more time and is now in fact at the back. This is your leader, Silvio, who is pulling away as we've seen him do on a couple of recent race days. He's getting very smooth with all of his flying. Ducks under the bridge. Now let's see the route he takes between the pillars. Yes, that's brave. That's how you need to try and fly that corner. Oh, it's a little bit wild afterwards, but works. He goes on to lap 4, just past the halfway point. Shrimpy Boy's lost time on him. Hologram and Trilly further behind still. This looks like it's going to be a strong 1-2 for SDT. Here's Hologram over the rooftops, picking their way nicely between some of the other obstacles. Not just the DCL pylons and so on, but the real-life building isn't the easiest thing to fly around. And what's Hologram going to do on the bridge? That's great. Will she go between the pillars? No, the safer route's slightly wider. It's all good, smooth flying now. Oh, just a correction there, and then dive down and turning sideways to get better visibility of it, which has worked. Silvio, meanwhile, is coming to his ground section now. Around the SW project turn and under the bridge. Here's Shrimpy Boy in second. Let's have a look at how tightly he flies it. Not bad at all. Does he go between the pillars? No. That's okay. Shrimpy Boy heading towards block trade. Oh, and into the first of the 2 block trade gates. The duck underneath is the more complicated bit. That's lost Shrimpy Boy a couple more seconds, but unfortunately for Mach1, Hologram is too far behind to take advantage of it. Silvio, your leader, on his final lap, under the bridge, between the pillars. Yes, there it goes. That is a nice, smoother and quicker line, and his route down to the finish is all good. Silvio picks up the first win of the day for SDT. Shrimpy Boy is 7 seconds behind him, but bringing it home and making it a 1-2.
Nice.
Bump something, eh? Damn it.
I like the respectful applause between the teammates of Mach1, but Silvio quicker than everybody and gets 4 points for SDT. Now let's take a look at that finished dive, because pilots are approaching it in slightly different ways. Firstly, the quickest way to make a drone go down is to point it to the ground. Then you accelerate downwards because you have to pull out of that dive. Another thing to think about is in the simulator you have more visibility left and right, so turning your drone a little bit helps you see that dive coming. Here's Silvio's, who's got the cleanest route of all three. He turns to the right and does it in one smooth move and actually laps Trilly at the same time just there. Hologram doing a full pitch forwards for maximum speed, but obviously that reduces your visibility a little bit. Here's Silvio coming up over top, turns it all the way around on his final lap. It's very smoothly done. Danube and Seasky, we'll see if they can match the performance of their teammates. Kali and Lebeba would like to get Mach1 further up into the points. We're on board with Kali, round the 180 turn and through Torval, and then we'll start up towards the rooftops. She's got Lebeba, her teammate, just in front of her. SDT in front of both of them. Coming now to the dive down through... Oh, Kali's hit the ring! Gotta go back for it. That's a surprise. That's let everyone get 3 seconds away. So let's see as Lebeba goes around the building and chases the Danube and Seasky into block trade. That's good. There's the roll to the left for Lebeba, and now she'll come along to start lap number 2. And oh, she's turned inside the pylon and missed it. Oh, that's lost her some time now. Oh, there's a big gap forming between SDT and Mach1 here. Danube out in front of Seasky. Not much between them, but then 4 seconds before the Mach1 team. Now Seasky's gone through the pillars there. That tighter route we saw from Silvio earlier, and that's a really fluid join there from the second lap onto the third. That's good flying from Seasky, and it's 7/10 of a second between him and the green drone in front, belonging to Danube. They'll make this turn through the ring, then another 180 here, and the dive that follows it towards the buildings under the bridge. Seasky follows Danube through that hole. It looks a lot bigger there than it actually is, and Seasky is beautifully keeping up with the captain of SDT and actually starting to get a little closer to him now. Through Torval into the rooftops, and it's less than half a second between them. We got a Spanish race on now. That's good work under the crane for Seasky. That's less good. That's the ring, and that's undone. All of that hard work he'd done, gnawing away at Danube's lead. Just a fraction here and there. Danube is getting a little wild on the start of lap number 5, but remains in the lead. 1 second between him and Seasky, and over 10 seconds between him and the Mach1 pair. Back on board with Seasky, who'll probably just try and keep solidly in second. Has he missed the ring as well? And a second time, and over the top and finds it. Oh, something is really broken in his concentration. Maybe so much intent on the chase of Danube, and now that's kind of left him. Oh, Danube is needing a bit of course correction there as well. They're flying this almost recklessly, the SDT pilots. They've got such a huge lead. It's 14 seconds between Danube in first and Lebeba in third, and Kali is behind in fourth. They're just really using this now as a bit of extra practice time on this track. Danube isn't playing anything safe. In fact, if anything, there's a bit of correction going on there. He's got the first place by some distance, though. We'll see Seasky come through the tunnel now. It's another 1-2 for SDT.
Yeah, let's go.
Nice one.
SDT Perpetuumcoin's Danube. Such a strong pilot for them ever since they joined the DCL a few years ago. He's got another 4 for his team. Now we saw Kali hit the ring when we were racing. She also then clips the building on the way down here, and that ruins her path, which hits this and this and that. Lebeba had a real chase on with SDT, and in the excitement just turned too soon. Missed that pylon on the first go, had to go back for it. Seasky had trouble at this ring as well. Eventually went over to find their way through. And coming up towards the end of lap number 5, the inclined block trade gate is smaller than it looks. It's very hard to get through, but Danube will show you how to thread all of this section in one beautiful fluid movement. So big heat time, the legendary DCL race with all 8 pilots in the sky. 10 points available, but it'll be a big performance from Mach1 to get up there and get all of them. Kali decides to start things off with a fight with Danube. Seasky around there as well, and Lebeba. This is a really strong start by these pilots, and now it's all getting a bit crowded over the rooftops as green and more blue drones come into the battle. This is excellent stuff right at the front. Callie goes around, a few go through. She just makes it through the tunnel, through both block trades. A big roll to try and finish that first lap, and she comes out with all that great flying, still in 6th place. Lebeba is the one who's leading the way for Mach1, but she's down in 4th. So she's got to keep her wits about her and give these green drones a real challenge. Let's check out what Leslie can do as she now dives down towards this bridge turn and is doing well and keeping up with most of the green drones. She's gone through the hole, through that narrow bit there. That's what you've got to do. Start taking some braver corners to try and keep up with them, and she's doing everything she can. Now on the end of lap number 2 into lap number 3, Shrimpy Boy is fighting with her for 4th and 5th place, and it's a 1-2-3 for the other green drones currently out in front. Lebeba through the ring, keeping Shrimpy Boy behind her. This is good flying for Mach1. Now under the bridge, and now she needs to dive through this hole, and it's all gone wrong on the ground. It's so narrow vertically. The DCL banner and the rooftop, it's not a big gap to fit through at all. Lebeba remains the leading pilot for Mach1, but she's behind all of the green SDT drones. She's keeping Shrimpy Boy behind, but he's now ahead of her, as are Danube, Silvio and Seasky in the rest of the scoring positions. Now it's getting a bit messy up front for Danube. He was under real challenges from Silvio, and now he finds himself behind not just Silvio, but Seasky as well. That end section I mentioned on the last race wasn't very tidy for him then, and it really got undone on that block trade section. Nevertheless, still in a scoring position, as are all of SDT. Silvio is their leader, and he's 1.5 seconds ahead of everybody on to lap number 5. That looks so nice and smooth now compared to how some other pilots are rocking and rolling between them. Now through Torval onto lap number 6. Here's Callie, taking up the charge for Mach1 with Shrimpy Boy in her sights. There's still a second and slightly more between them, but she's starting to gain on the slower pilot for SDT. Meanwhile, we're on to the final lap, of course, and Silvio is through the tunnel after going through the pillars. And that's all good and done with a big win for Silvio, then Seasky, and then Danube, and Callie can't quite catch 4th.
Let's go.
It was close at the beginning, and Mach1 put up a good fight, but Silvio and his team got away from them for maximum points. Here's Lebeba when she was challenging so strongly, just too low, just getting tripped up by that. Good recovery, though. Callie was in a real fight amongst the drones, trying to gain on Shrimpy Boy, but hits this DCL gate, and that sends her too far behind. Now, Danube was leading until on the 4th lap, when this block trade section was the undoing of him, and it had been a bit near the edge many times before, so it was about time it bit him, really. And Silvio is just threading obstacle into the next one to the next one so smoothly. Look at that. No course corrections, just a really confident choice of line. Again, his finish is immaculate. So well done to SDT Perpetuumcoin, the Spain drone team, pick up maximum points in a sweep over Mach1. Importantly, that's 3 points to their season tally. Now let's go to our second matchup of the day. Raiden Racing from Japan, China Dragons, yep, from China. Silent returns to the DCL alongside Vincent Mayans for Raiden in yellow. Now Silent was the 2-time DCL Women's Cup champion when we used to run that in conjunction with our World Championship Series. We've always allowed women pilots in the main event though, and this year we've combined all of them. So Silent currently half a second behind her teammate Vincent Mayans, who's in the lead, and between them, the China Dragon pilots of Chryson and Ion, and this is Chryson's view as he tries to catch Vincent Mayans. Now look how quick this flying is, and look how confident these pilots are threading it all together. After the Torval gate, we go to the rooftops, and Chryson is bearing down on Vincent Mayans to the Parliament. Oh, an earlier turn for Chryson, threading it into the crane. That's really nicely done. It's 1/10 of a second between them. And now Mayans leads him and just slightly gets away from Chryson, and they're going round the pillars. Nobody daring to slip between them just yet. That's a surprise. Now Chryson is heading onto the start of lap number 3 a bit wildly, just about keeping it together until the building got in his way. Oh, he nearly hit many things behind the DCL stage, ended up hitting the government building, just one of the little outcrops. As sees Mayans get away from him and his teammate Ion take up the chase into second place instead. And Mayans has got a lot of clear air here. Chryson looks like he's flying just a little slower than he was. Maybe just slightly less confidence. Oh, the block trade has tripped him on the way up as well. Oh, yes, Chryson is not the gung-ho aggressive speed that he had before. And he's slipping a little further back too. Mayans surely going to wrap this race up in a couple of laps for Raiden. But can Silent gain from 4th on 3rd and catch up with Chryson, this pilot here, who's been struggling a little bit in this middle of the race. Slightly slower into that tunnel, through block trade 1 and 2 this time, and that's a bit more like it for Chryson. He's starting to get that all a little bit smoother, and doing so has just nudged a little bit further away from Silent, who's in 4th. Currently, this race will cancel each other out, as it will be 5 points for Raiden, but also 5 points for the China Dragons. Neither team really wants that. Chryson is getting a bit quicker. Just starting to get back into his previous route of flying, but he's hit the tree. That's given Silent a real chance to get extra points for Raiden. She's coming for him now. A full 360-degree roll on to the start of the final lap, and she takes 3rd place and is gone from him. Round the rooftops. Heading to this duck and then over the Parliament building, which Chryson was doing so quickly earlier, but this race has changed a lot since then. Mach1's out in front, nearly 3 seconds ahead of Ion. He's finishing all by himself. Ion's coming through now in 2nd, and Silent will hang on to that 3rd place with a spiral as well.
Yes. Let's go. Yes. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Good job, guys.
Did Chryson crash in the last lap?
Mach1's with yet another 4 points in his incredible history in the Drone Champions League, and his teammate Silent says, I'll take that, I'll take that. 2 points, her first score in the World Championship. Now Chryson nearly came undone on the crane, and this gate and the sculpture, but the building eventually claimed him. And on lap number 5, here's where Silent overtook him. That's the tree that he clipped. That ruined his entry for this block trade gate, and he missed the hurdle. Had to go back. Let's see it from Silent's point of view. She spiraled the whole thing and was away from him. Mach1's, though, clean as you like, out in front. Another one of those beautiful sections, and 4 points for him. Now we welcome Perpetuum FPV from Turkey, making their debut in the DCL with Raiden Racing's IQ0. They're up against the very established high-scoring pair of Creator Gamer and Clone Number 1 for China Dragons. Yellow and orange lighting up Liechtenstein. Everybody within half a second of each other. Really strong start. Perpetuum getting stuck in on his first race in the DCL. They're really enjoying this. And everybody goes between the pillars. Oh, Perpetuum's just overshot the turn into the tunnel. Oh, that's just a small mistake there. It's going to make it hard to catch the other really established pilots. But Perpetuum putting up a really strong fight and confident, brave flying in their first time in the DCL. His teammate is at the front. IQ0 being passed, though, by Creator Gamer and Clone Number 1 hovering around him too. There's only a 10th here and there between these 3 pilots. They're all through the gap in the pillars. They're all into the tunnel. Clone Number 1 just swinging a little bit more than the others, and a bit more there as he heads on to the start of lap number 3. So Creator Gamer is alongside IQ0 for the lead, and Clone Number 1 4/10 behind the pair of them, but trying to stick with them. Over the crane, nicely done. Clone Number 1 trying to turn on the inside a little bit, as is Creator Gamer, who's still within a 10th of a second of IQ0. There's barely anything between them. They are all between the pillars. IQ0's view here as he tries to hang on to the lead at the halfway point. Comes down just in front of Creator Gamer and is just in front of him by a 10th of a second. 3 laps to go. If it's all going to be like this is absolutely phenomenal racing. As it stands, it would be 5 points all. That means Raiden were going to the big heat, still ahead of China Dragons, but they'd love it to be more than that. To the bridge now, and IQ hits the underside of it and drops down into 3rd. Half a second lost there, and Creator Gamer and Clone Number 1 have the lead with 2 laps to go. Oh, IQ was just ducking under the bridge and just caught it before flying underneath it, but he's already caught a little bit of them back up now. Creator Gamer, then Clone Number 1, 1st and 2nd. Raiden's IQ0 in 3rd, trying to get a few more points out of this race. Wants to get alongside them and is gaining on them a little bit here and there, sticking with them the rest of the time. 1 lap to go, and IQ0 with a really bold dive takes the lead on the start of the final lap, but Creator Gamer and Clone Number 1 are right with him too. Less than a 10th of a second between all 3 of them now. IQ over the top and under the crane, swings for the ring, with Clone Number 1 just on the outside of him and moving up underneath, trying to take the win from him, and is just there right now. Into the pillar gap they go. That's all good. IQ0 hanging on to Clone Number 1, Creator Gamer behind him, but the win is Clones!
Yeah, you got it.
No!
Good job.
Oh, okay.
It was close, yeah.
Oh, damn, IQ. That was a good race.
The disbelief and then relief on Creator Gamer for China Dragons as he realised his teammate Clone did get the win there. Batu has one of the best debut races I've ever seen in the DCL. Just a small mistake there sent him behind the action that he was otherwise really in. IQ0 just clipping that bridge is what saw the China Dragons pair get past him, but he fought and fought to get back in front of them, including at the end of the 5th lap here. What a move this is! Threads it, comes out in front of both of them. Clone number 1 got it at the end though with some beautiful smooth flying that he had to do under huge pressure, and he won it by just 0.04 of a second. Could it be that close in the DCL big heat when they're all racing? Wow, we're going to see some huge performances here, I have no doubt. Everybody through the first gate, 0.1 of a second between all of them, and through Torvald, and it's still the same. Now we light up Liechtenstein. All 8 of these pilots so close together, nobody dropping behind just yet. It's Mayans and IQ leading, then China Dragons all in one big block before Batu and Silence complete the 8 pilots, and everybody in with a shout here. Chryson seems to be back into the fast, smoother flying that we know him for. Goes through Torvald now to the roof, just clips that first cone, manages to keep it on course though. It only cost him a tiny fraction, and there's that really early rooftop turn that we saw him do before as well, keeping him in the fight, but he's currently in 5th. Mayans, Creator Gamer, 1st and 2nd, swapping it between them. IQ getting amongst them as well. Then it's Clone number 1, and then Chryson just outside of those scoring positions. Now to the start of lap number 3. IQ, Vincent Mayans, Creator Gamer, Clone number 1, all those big names for these teams. Everybody over the roof. Now through the ring. 5 drones all within half a second of each other. Then Batu, Silent and Ion just a little bit too far behind to be featuring. This is Mayan's view. Out in front. Nobody there, but he'll know they aren't far behind. And Chryson chasing all of them. Still trying to get into that top 5. Now we saw him take an interesting route around the Parliament. He turns much earlier than everybody else after this cone, and he does it again. It's very perpendicular. I'm not sure it's so quick as the others in front who are making more of a diagonal across there. Oh, and he's hit the bridge like IQ0 did earlier, only he's slower on the recovery from it. It was a bigger crash for him. So now he's a few seconds behind in 5th and drops to 6th. Silence gone past him too. Here's our leader, Mayans. 2 laps to go. Clone number 1 and Creator Gamer, then IQ0. This is a 5 points all situation. This cancels everything out into a big draw. Neither of these teams want to come away from this battle with just 1 point. Now, we saw Mayans there go a lot wider than the China Dragons drones. He didn't go between the pillars, and yet he's still managing to hang on to the lead as they now start the final lap. Creator Gamer just behind him. Clone number 1 really close too. Oh, this is so close at the front. Mayans got to hang on to this position. It doesn't look like any of the other Raiden teammates are going to come up and score anything higher. He's got to win it, and Raiden are going to have to settle for that draw. But Clone number 1 and his teammate Creator Gamer want to say something about it on the final turn. Clone number 1 is coming through and gets the win!
Good Clone, let's go! Let's go!
GG, man.
Woo!
Good job, Clone.
Yes!
No!
First one decent.
What a race! And what a finish! Clone number 1 on the final bend turns it upside down. It had been Vincent Mayans and Raiden's throughout. Chryson just hovering around the back of the points after a couple of mistakes like that. Mayans on the final lap was flying so well. Look at him go. This is surely his race. And yet an orange drone beats him to the punch by 0.05 of a second, and it belongs to Clone number 1. At this stage, he's in 3rd. Inside Creator Gamer, and a final turn steals it from everybody. Let's take a look at it from a slightly different angle. Just turning inside there, and the dive is so sharp. Over the rooftops, under the hurdle. Mine's just behind him, couldn't believe it when he saw the final. It's China Dragons getting the win over Raiden Racing by the tiniest of margins. The single heats went 6-4 in opposite directions, but that big heat is what gave them the win. Elsewhere, Cyclone picked up a win over Haven after they defaulted that race, and Cyclone were between Raiden and China Dragons. So what does that mean for the leaderboard? Well, both Cyclone and China Dragons push up past Raiden. Then it's SDT within striking distance of them, and Quad Force 1 rounding out that all-important top 6. On race day 13, we'll show you what happens with them, as Cyclone will take on Quad Force 1 and SDT will be racing Raiden for that 4th place. Until then, I'm Matt Andrews, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the skies!